Turkey might be the centerpiece, but everyone knows the sides are where it's at. And with so many to choose from, why not gobble up some of the lesser-known Thanksgiving classics this time around? Thanksgiving has no shortage of creamy, bready side dishes, but the embarrassment of riches is often lacking something: salad. Cranberry sauce does most of the heavy lifting when it comes to cutting through the grease and carbs of the rest of the meal, but it shouldn't have to shoulder all the work. This pomegranate chicken salad provides a refreshing counterpoint to stuffing and mashed potatoes, with its peppery arugula, crunchy pumpkin seeds, and sharp feta. The sweetness of the pomegranate is amplified by the pomegranate molasses in the dressing, and you can always omit the chicken to avoid detracting from the turkey, or keep it on hand in case something goes wrong.
I am thankful that I only burned the turkey a little bit. I'm sorry, you gang.
Roasted pecans are a staple of the holiday season, and you don't have to limit them to pie. This rice pilaf makes a delicious, savory showcase for them, complete with rosemary and thyme. The rice is cooked in chicken stock to add flavor, and the nuts are toasted in butter. You could easily use this pilaf in place of traditional stuffing, or present it as a bonus side dish. Feel free to swap the long grain white rice for another variety. Wild rice would provide a striking visual element to the dish, while brown rice would add a nutty flavor to go with the pecans. Thanksgiving is as much about presentation as it is about flavor, and this side dish is bound to turn heads. Artichokes look intimidating to eat, but are well worth the hassle. They are also easy to make, though they require a two-step cooking process of boiling and grilling. To make this dish truly memorable, recipe developer Feta Tapalu has created an aioli dipping sauce made with mayonnaise, garlic, Parmesan, lemon juice, Dijon mustard, and a hint of cayenne pepper. It's tangy, cheesy, and oh so creamy, and will add some flair to the usual Thanksgiving spread. Plus, it's perfect for vegetarians.
I don't eat anything with feathers anymore. You know, I watched that Netflix documentary. Horrifying.
Get a head start on Hanukkah festivities with Latkes. Recipe developer Catherine Brooks has created a version made with sweet potatoes, perfect for Thanksgiving feasting. Unlike traditional latkes, which are made with regular potatoes, this version is not only crispy but caramelized too. If you're looking for an alternative to the usual sweet potato casserole, this recipe will provide all the sugary, caramelized sweet potato you could wish for. Top the latkes with sour cream for an even more delicious flavor and complexity of texture. Some families serve creamed onions every Thanksgiving, but we have an even better option. These creamed cucumber slices strike an unusual balance between creamy and refreshing. Cucumbers are so closely associated with summer and salad that they are bound to cause a stir at Thanksgiving. In this case, it's well-deserved. Despite the subtle taste of the hydrating vegetable at its center, this dish is full of flavor. Sour cream and onion lend it a luxurious texture and a sharp flavor, while fresh dill gives it a slightly sweet note that perfectly complements the coolness of the cucumbers. Traditional potato salad fits just about any dinner menu, especially when meat is involved. It has the creamy starchiness you need to balance out protein-heavy dishes and the flavor to liven up uninspiring side dishes. This Japanese-style potato salad is arguably even better on these fronts and provides more nutrients and color. There are potatoes and mayonnaise, of course, but also ham, eggs, cucumber, carrots, and vinegar to cut through the creaminess. This dish is close enough to traditional potato salad to delight those who love the original recipe, but adventurous enough to satisfy those who love trying new flavors. Pasta salads are often associated with summer cookouts, but there is no reason why you should limit them to a particular season, especially when you can add a beloved party food to the formula. Deviled eggs are a staple of fancy gatherings, with their elegant appearance and sophisticated flavors.
Someone devil-egged my car. Well, that is paprika.
However, they have a reputation for being tricky to make, which is where the genius of this recipe comes in. Instead of having to pipe the mixture of hard-boiled egg yolks, mustard, and mayonnaise back into the egg whites, you simply mix them up into a dressing, pour them over the pasta, and add the egg whites, some bacon, a can of pimentos, and shredded cheddar for the best of both worlds. Spaghetti squash is a sneaky way to eat more vegetables without trying, and you don't even need a spiralizer to make it look like real spaghetti. This recipe speeds things up by cooking the squash in an Instant Pot, which slashes the usual roasting time to less than 10 minutes. Even the presentation is easy. Simply toss the spaghetti squash with your favorite store-bought pasta sauce, and you have an eye-catching, colorful dish. Thanksgiving isn't a day when you want to be worried about eating superfoods, but it is nice to see at least one spot of green amongst the sea of dishes. In that respect, these cheesy kale chips are just the thing. Vibrantly colored, crunchy, cheesy, and yes, maybe a little bit healthy too. Steak spice and nutritional yeast ensure that these chips taste nothing like health food and have a texture that's more akin to vegetable tempura than salad. Don't skimp on the Parmesan, and make sure to serve them straight out of the oven when they're at peak crispiness. Eggplants sliced in half lengthwise make a striking addition to the Thanksgiving table, especially when coated in spicy, sweet, and savory glaze. If your family is used to the standard fare of mashed potatoes and gravy, green bean casserole, and turkey, this recipe will vastly enrich the meal and might become a new staple.
Go away, you turkey haters!
Gochujang, a fermented sweet and savory chili paste from Korea, forms the foundation of the glaze, and it's worth the extra legwork to find a store that carries it, rather than try to substitute it with other ingredients. Salad might be a tough sell on Thanksgiving, but you can compromise with a delicious concoction that bears no resemblance to a bowl of leafy greens. This shredded carrot salad is light, refreshing, and full of tangy flavor from the mustard vinaigrette. For those who have never been wild about cranberry sauce, this dish is a great alternative palate cleanser to balance out the rich, savory flavors of the rest of the meal.
Thank you. Canned cranberry sauce. For literally looking like a can made out of cranberry sauce.
Add a little extra honey if you want the sweetness of the carrots to match the acidity of the vinegar and Dijon. Beans are often overlooked at Thanksgiving. Maybe it's because the turkey provides all the protein you need, or because many bean-based recipes don't fit neatly into the side dish category. Either way, these garlic and herb Great Northern beans more closely resemble an inventive salad than a protein-rich main dish. Great Northern beans are closely related to kidney beans, but are richer, making them the perfect addition to your fleet of Thanksgiving side dishes. You're less likely to find them canned, so we recommend buying them dried and then cooking them in a pressure cooker or Instant Pot. Even if you're not planning to serve beets at Thanksgiving, you might want to add sautéed beet greens to the meal. These leafy tops are not only packed with vitamins and minerals, but they're deliciously versatile too. This recipe keeps things simple with garlic and lemon juice, bringing out the green's slightly sweet, earthy flavor. Unlike kale, they have a tender, almost buttery texture, negating any concerns about producing something chewy and fibrous. Their earthy flavor make them perfect for autumn and all its root vegetable bounty. Let's cut to the chase. Thanksgiving is all about indulgence, so why not double down this year? Cheese fondue will make all those creamy casseroles look like health food, and that, we can assure you, is a compliment. This recipe doesn't give you just any fondue. It's made with 2 kinds of cheese, Swiss and Gouda, as well as white wine, brandy, yellow mustard, minced garlic, and lemon juice. Bursting with cheesy flavor, it's a crowd-pleasing dish that is surprisingly quick to produce. Recipe developer and registered dietitian Kristen Carley suggests using this fondue to sneak some vegetables into your diet by adding a few slices of bell pepper, carrots, and celery next to the standard cubes of bread for dipping. Tomatoes are a summer staple, but you can often find them during winter months too, imported from sunnier parts of the world. If you can find green ones, we highly recommend adding this recipe to your standard Thanksgiving lineup.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me.
Unripe tomatoes are firmer and less juicy than fresh, meaning they hold their shape when fried instead of turning mushy. Their flavor is more acidic, but when coated in cornmeal and breadcrumbs, it's a bonus rather than a downside. This recipe calls for the tomato slices to be double coated, ensuring they are extra crispy and flavorful. This year, replace one of your vegetable sides with esquites, also known as elote, one of Mexico's most delicious and popular street foods. Made with roasted corn kernels, lime juice, chili pepper, cheese, and other delicious ingredients, this dish is full of delicious flavors that will enhance your Thanksgiving no matter what other foods you're serving. Although elote is usually made by cutting corn kernels off the cob, this recipe makes things easier by using frozen fire-roasted corn. Dial back the jalapeno if any of your guests have a lower heat tolerance, but otherwise, keep the formula intact. You won't be disappointed. For a side dish that is filling and nourishing, look no further than this quinoa zucchini salad. It may not have butter or cream, but it is full of flavor and an excellent compromise when you want something healthy, but would rather not eat kale or spinach salad on Thanksgiving. All the ingredients are cooked, meaning that even the vegetables taste festively warm and savory rather than crisp and fresh. Lemon and goat cheese provide a sharp acidity that is a welcome diversion from the richness of the other dishes, and the quinoa has a delicious nutty flavor. Fritters make the perfect Thanksgiving side dish. Crispy and indulgent, they fit right in with the rest of the meal. And, in the case of these zucchini fritters, can even be healthy. This recipe calls for the grated squash mixed with herbs, parmesan, onion, eggs, and feta. Before frying, they are coated in breadcrumbs to heighten their crispiness. Despite how delicious and unique they are, these fritters take only a half hour to come together, which is a lifesaver on one of the most stressful cooking days of the year.
Turkey dry as a damn bone.
Tostones are a popular dish in Latin American and Caribbean cuisine, made from unripe plantains that are peeled, sliced, and fried twice. The result is crunchy golden circles of deliciousness, suited to any occasion. Recipe developer Alexandra Scheitzman has found a way to mimic the traditional twice-fried recipe by baking twice instead. This produces equally crunchy results without all the oil. With smoked paprika and garlic powder, these golden coins are utterly delicious and an asset to any Thanksgiving meal. If you were on TikTok in 2020, you probably saw at least one video about cloud bread. The low-carb alternative to regular wheat-based bread is made of egg whites, a bit of cornstarch, and sugar, and many recipes on the platform use dye to make their fluffy creations pastel colors. We're not suggesting you serve cushiony blue clouds at Thanksgiving, but recipe developer Ting Dalton has created a version of the trend that is savory and a warm light brown. It may look like bread, but garlic powder, Italian herb seasoning, and cream cheese give it a boost of flavor, making it a delicious and unusual companion to the rest of the meal. We firmly believe you can never go wrong by adding mac and cheese to a dinner menu, and this kimchi version proves the point. There is something for everyone in this recipe, but it's the way it all comes together that makes it a winner in our book. Aside from macaroni and the spicy fermented veggies of the kimchi, is fermented chili paste, known as gochujang, a thick, creamy cheese sauce with mustard, and a breadcrumb topping made with butter, green onions, and Parmesan. Do not skip the 5-minute bake at the end to make the breadcrumbs extra crunchy. When you need another vegetable on the table but can't bring yourself to wade through yet another lengthy recipe, these flash-fried snow peas will be your favorite part of Thanksgiving. In fact, you'll have them plated and on the table before your guests can make it to their seats. Speed doesn't substitute flavor either. These crunchy little morsels are made fiery with the addition of ginger and garlic, while the toasted flavor of sesame seed oil and the inherent sweetness of the peas shine through. Even veggie-averse kids will be won over. With their rich umami flavor and unique texture, mushrooms make an excellent addition to Thanksgiving. You could use them in place of another side dish, but they are so different from the standard menu items that you may as well just add them to the mix, especially considering how well their earthy flavor pairs with other seasonal ingredients like squash and Brussels sprouts. These sautéed mushrooms can even double as a kind of gravy. Made with soy sauce, butter, garlic, and white wine, they are full of buttery umami flavor and perfect for spooning on top of mashed potatoes and the main attraction.
What's under here?
If you haven't made fried onion rings at home yet, what are you waiting for? They are surprisingly easy to make, and with the right recipe, taste just as good, if not better, than the kind you get from restaurants. You don't even need a deep fryer. This recipe includes baking powder in the batter, which makes the rings extra crispy. It also calls for batter and breadcrumbs rather than one or the other, ensuring that the coating is thick, crunchy, and uniform. Make sure to heat the oil to 365 degrees Fahrenheit and flip the rings just before the first side is done. Southern fried apples are traditionally eaten as a dessert, but Thanksgiving dinner is known for its range of sweet and savory sides, which makes it the perfect occasion to pair this recipe with turkey and gravy. The apples are tart and sweet, with the warming addition of cinnamon and richness of butter. This recipe calls for brown sugar and date syrup too, which gives them an even deeper, sweeter flavor. Serve these apples next to the turkey, and you're likely to start a trend that crops up every year. We're not saying they'll make cranberry sauce obsolete, but they will most certainly give it a run for its money.
I know you ate that sugary canned cranberry slop at your grandmother's that one year because she doesn't care about anything.
Watch it!
But we are not eating that junk in the house.
There's nothing like plantains on the usual Thanksgiving menu. In the array of savory, earthy, sometimes sweet dishes, their light sweetness and starchy texture may sound similar to other options, but they provide a unique and delicious flavor all their own. If you want the plantains to be a little sweeter, add a teaspoon or two of sugar. As the recipe stands, however, the sweet-savory balance of the fruit adds to its uniqueness. Make sure to use yellow plantains. Green ones are underripe for this recipe, while ones that have black splotches will be too mushy to hold their shape. When planning Thanksgiving, do not forget to put carrots on the menu. Roasted carrots are one of the best dishes for winter. Sweet, earthy, and starchy without being too filling. They're also nutritious, colorful, and easily paired with just about anything. This recipe adds Parmesan to the mix, which is another flavor that is almost always welcome. Slice the carrots lengthwise to make sure they cook all the way through, and sprinkle them with fresh parsley before serving for a little bit of festive color. Here's one you probably haven't tried, let alone eaten regularly at Thanksgiving: polenta fries. Polenta is already delicious, but recipe developer Ting Dalton has added even more flavor with Parmesan, garlic, and fresh rosemary. On top of this, the polenta is cooked in chicken broth with plenty of butter. This recipe takes a little more effort to make, but it's still beginner-friendly, and the extra time is totally worth it. The best part is that because these fries are made with polenta instead of potatoes, you can get away with having fries and mashed potatoes in the same meal. It's a win-win. Yorkshire pudding is a staple of British cuisine that you'll find on almost every Sunday roast menu across the country. Made of flour, eggs, and milk, it's a simple, quick bread shaped like a collapsed muffin, and it's almost always served with roast meat and drenched in gravy. Because of this, it happens to be the perfect side dish for Thanksgiving. Recipe developer Susan Oleinka has taken the traditional approach with her recipe, and we wouldn't have it any other way. Crispy on the outside and chewy on the inside, these puddings not only pair well with the turkey and gravy, but with the rest of the Thanksgiving meal as well. Brussels sprouts, rutabaga, and parsley are just a few of the bitter foods that are often incorporated into Thanksgiving dishes, and we have another option to add to the list: dandelion greens. They are not the most common vegetable at any time of year, but their slightly bitter flavor brings some nuance to the table that will wake up the palate and win over your guests. Dandelion greens do not have the same intensity as arugula or mustard greens, so recipe developer Feta Tapalu has paired them with garlic and lots of butter for a subtly bitter dish that is tender and delicious. Tired of cornbread but not ready to leave it off the menu? This simple corn pudding is the perfect way to meet in the middle. Although it contains flour and is baked in a casserole dish, its consistency is less bready than cornbread. Sweet, dense, and full of sugary pockets of corn kernels, it is an excellent addition to Thanksgiving in place of the usual bready variety of the dish. In addition to creamed corn and corn kernels, the pudding gains its flavor from evaporated milk, sugar, vanilla, and nutmeg. You can omit the last two ingredients if you'd rather it be more savory, and add jalapenos or cayenne if you want it spicy. There are many ways to make Brussels sprouts. You can grill them on skewers, turn them into salad, or keep things simple by roasting them. If you're planning to serve them at Thanksgiving this year, we have another idea, and it involves cheese. These Parmesan Brussels sprouts are made in an air fryer, giving them crispy skin without needing lots of oil. They are made even crispier with breadcrumbs, while balsamic vinegar gives them a kick of flavor and a hint of sweetness. It's not your average recipe, and it will make the meal all the more memorable.